In the quiet corner of a bustling city, where the streets wound down after sunset, stood a small coffee shop called Brewhaven. It was the kind of place where the air always smelled like fresh grounds and warm pastries. Emily worked there as a barista, handling the late shifts from 8 in the evening until closing at midnight. She was 28, with soft brown hair tied back in a ponytail and eyes that held a gentle tiredness from long days. The shop was cozy, with wooden tables scarred from years of use and shelves lined with mismatched mugs. Soft jazz played from an old radio in the corner, filling the space with a calm rhythm. Outside, the city lights flickered like distant stars, but inside, time seemed to slow. Emily liked it about her job. It gave her moments to breathe, to watch the world pass by through the fogged-up windows. Every night, around 9 o'clock, he would come in. Alexander. He was tall, with dark hair streaked lightly with gray at the temples, and he always wore a simple coat over a button-up shirt. No tie, no fancy watch that screamed wealth, just a quiet man who ordered the same thing, a black coffee, medium, no sugar. He would sit at the corner table by the window, sip slowly, and stare out into the night. Sometimes he read a book, other times he just gazed, lost in thought. Emily noticed him on his first visit, about 3 months ago. The bell above the door had tinkled softly, letting in a rush of cool air. He had smiled politely, his voice deep and steady. "Just a coffee, please." She had nodded, poured it fresh, and handed it over with a quiet "Here you go." He thanked her, paid with cash, and left a generous tip in the jar. That was it. No small talk, no rush, but he came back the next night, and the next. Soon, it became a routine. Emily found herself looking forward to it, in a small way. The shop was often empty by then, with only the hum of the espresso machine for company. His presence added a subtle warmth to the quiet hours. One evening, as rain pattered against the windows, Emily wiped down the counter and glanced at the clock. 9 sharp. The door opened, and there he was, shaking droplets from his coat. "Evening," he said, his voice like a low rumble. "Hi there." "The usual?" Emily asked, already reaching for the pot. He nodded. "Please." She poured the coffee, steam rising in lazy curls, as she handed it to him. Their fingers brushed lightly. "Rough night out there," she said, nodding toward the rain. He paused, then smiled faintly. "Yeah, but in here, it's peaceful." He took his seat, and Emily went back to her tasks of refilling sugar packets, sweeping the floor. But that night, she felt a pull. The shop was empty, the jazz soft. She walked over with a rag, pretending to clean a nearby table. "Mind if I ask, what brings you in every night?" "Just the coffee." Alexander looked up, surprised but not annoyed. He set his cup down gently. "The coffee's good, and it's quiet, helps me unwind." Emily nodded, leaning against the chair. "I get that. This place is my unwind spot too, even if I'm working." They talked a little more that night. Simple things about the weather, the best parks in the city. He didn't say much about himself, but his eyes held a depth, like stories unspoken. When he left, the tip jar was fuller, and Emily felt a small spark in her chest. Days turned to weeks. Emily's life outside the shop was simple, but heavy. She lived in a tiny apartment above a noisy street, sharing it with her cat, Whiskers. Money was tight. She worked 2 jobs to pay off student loans from a degree and art she never used. Her days blurred together, mornings at a bookstore, evenings here. Friends had drifted away after her last breakup 2 years ago. She felt stuck, like the steam from the coffee that rose and vanished. But Alexander's visits became a bright spot. Their conversations grew. One night, he asked about her. "What do you do when you're not here?" Emily laughed softly, stirring a latte for herself. "Read, mostly. Dream about painting again. Life gets in the way, you know." He nodded slowly. "I do. Responsibilities pile up." "What about you?" she ventured. "You seem like you carry a lot." He hesitated, then said, "Work keeps me busy." "And family?" Emily didn't push. She sensed boundaries, like the steam fogging the glass. But each night, the walls softened. He shared bits, how he loved old jazz records, how the city lights reminded him of stars from his childhood home in the countryside. She told him about her sketches, hidden in a drawer at home. One particularly slow night, the shop empty except for them. Emily sat across from him during her break. The rain had stopped, leaving puddles that reflected the neon signs. "You ever feel lonely in a city this big?" she asked, her voice quiet. Alexander looked at his coffee, swirling it gently. "All the time. It's easy to get lost in the noise." "Me too," Emily admitted. "Sometimes I wonder if anyone's really seen me." He met her eyes then, a softness there. "I see you." The words hung in the air, simple yet profound. Emily felt her cheeks warm. From then on, their talks deepened. He laughed at her stories about quirky customers. She listened to his thoughts on life's small joys, like a perfect cup of coffee. But Emily had her doubts. Why did he come every night? Was it just the coffee, or something more? She pushed the thoughts away. He was kind, but mysterious. No ring on his finger, but he mentioned family, maybe a wife at home, kids waiting. She told herself not to hope. The relatable problem in Emily's life grew clearer. Her boss had cut hours at the bookstore, leaving her scraping by. Bills piled up like unsold pastries. One night, after a long day, she arrived at the shop exhausted. Her hands shook as she poured coffee for a customer. When Alexander came in, she forced a smile. "You okay?" he asked, concern in his voice. Emily sighed, handing him the cup. "Just tired. Money's tight. Feels like I'm running in place." He nodded thoughtfully. "I know that feeling. Hang in there." That night, he stayed longer, talking about resilience, how small steps lead to change. His words soothed her, like the warm mug in her hands. As winter approached, the shop decorated with string lights, twinkling softly, Emily started leaving a cookie on his saucer, a small gesture. He always thanked her, his smile reaching his eyes. One evening, the twist came gently, like snow falling outside. The shop was closing early due to a storm warning. Alexander arrived as usual, snowflakes in his hair. "Coffee?" Emily asked. "Please." "And company, if you have time." She sat with him, the wind howling faintly. They talked about holidays, her quiet ones with family far away, his with traditions he tried to keep. Then, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, a soft expression crossing his face. "My daughter," he said. "Lily." "She's 6. Asking if I'm coming home soon." Emily's heart skipped. "You have a daughter?" He nodded, pulling out his wallet to show a photo of a bright-eyed girl with curls. "Yeah, her mom passed away 3 years ago. It's just us now." "I'm sorry," Emily whispered. He waved it off gently. "It's okay. She's my world." "But it's lonely, raising her alone." Emily felt a pang. "That's why you come here? To unwind?" "Partly," he admitted. "Work is demanding. I'm the CEO of a tech company downtown. Keeps me on the go." Emily blinked. "CEO?" She pictured suits and boardrooms, not this quiet man in a coat. "Wait. Like, a big company?" He chuckled softly. "Yeah, Innovaduck. But money doesn't fix everything. I feel isolated. Coming here, it's simple, real, and you've been a light in that." The revelation settled slowly. He wasn't just any man, he was Alexander Hale, the millionaire CEO she'd vaguely heard of in the news. Lonely, single dad, seeking solace in black coffee and quiet talks. Emily's mind raced, but her heart steadied. "I had no idea." "I didn't want you to," he said. "I liked being just Alex here." They talked more that night, the storm raging outside but calm within. He shared how the pressure of leading a company left him hollow, how Lily's bedtime stories were his anchor. Emily opened up about her dreams deferred, her fear of never breaking free. As closing time neared, Alexander stood. "Emily, would you like to meet for coffee sometime?" "Not here. Somewhere else. With Lily, maybe." She smiled, warmth spreading. "I'd like that." The ending unfolded naturally, emotionally grounded. Weeks later, spring bloomed, melting the snow. Emily quit the bookstore, using savings to take art classes. Alexander helped subtly and not with money, but encouragement. They dated slowly, walks in the park with Lily giggling between them. One evening, at Brewhaven, now just a fond memory spota, they sat at his usual table. Lily colored nearby, the shop quiet as ever. "You changed my nights," Emily said. "And you changed my life," Alexander replied, his hand over hers. In that moment, amid the steam and jazz, they found not just love, but belonging. Simple, real, like the coffee that started it all.